Hey, how you doing? All right, this is Tony Winston, Jazz Piano College. Going to work on chord voicings today, starting with, and I've done a video about this before called Magic Formula, which comes from Berklee College of Music, taught to me by my great jazz instructor, Mr. Ted Howe, who now lives out in California. Hey, Ted. And but I'm going to, try to develop some of my own chord voicings today and show you how to do the same thing. And I'm also going to go over this song, There Ain't No Greater Love. And we're going to just try to put some chord voicings that seem to fit this melody. Okay, but first, let me just give you some examples here. We're going to take a C dominant seventh, and this would be the formula for just a basic C dominant seventh if the root is the top note. The melody note up there is the top note. All right. Now, if it was the fifth, it would be this formula, 1 5 7 3 5. If it was the seventh, it would be 1 5 7 3 7, and if it was the third, 1 5 3 7 3. Okay, and you can practice these kind of voicings through the cycle, use them in songs, but what I'm looking for today is a way to enhance these chord voicings or alter them and make them richer, better, nicer, darker, whatever. So we're going to just take this one. I'll show you some examples here. Okay, so we have a 5 in the chord. I don't know if you know this or not, but anytime you play like a C root, this note is there. It's in that note. Watch, now I'll hold the damper up and just whack that note. You should be able to hear this one. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me do it an octave lower. It works a little better. See? You have to listen carefully. I'll raise the volume so you can hear it. Now if I hit a different note, like this one, no response. But if I hit this one, see? And if I hit an octave below it, that should be even stronger. Yeah, see? But the fifth is present, so you don't need the 5 in the chord. And not only that, if you get rid of the 5, then you've got a finger to play the 13 instead. Now, I know you should call it a 6, but the way these chords are named, if you have a 7 in there already, then anything up here, like this, or that, is going to be the 9th, the 11th, and 13th, even if you play them down here. As long as the 7th is there, 9th, 11th, and 13th. Okay? So I'm going to change the 5th to a 13. And now I have a richer chord. Now, what else could I do with this chord? Well, I've got 3 different 9s down here that I could add to the chord, so I could just add a 9 as well. And my chord voicing is getting richer. I could add a flat 9. And, sometimes these chords sound a little strange, but if you try them out in a 2-5-1, say go something like, you hear that it sounds pretty good. So here was our chord. Let's see, what was it again now? I've forgotten. Oh, yeah. All right. So we had the regular 9, we tried the flat 9. What about the sharp 9? Wow, I don't know. It could work if you don't want a real pretty sound, if you want to kind of grind your teeth and make the jazz face and all that chord could work. You have this dissonant thing here. You could try moving the 3rd down an octave and then using it. And now it sounds a little bit better. Let's try it in a 2-5-1. That would be better, yes. What was it again? And, oh crap. Was that it? That was it, yeah. All right, once again. Now, this is kind of one of those be careful things, because if your next chord was going to be, say, an F 7th, look at this, that's already F 7th. See, if you went from C 7th to F 7th using this chord, it wouldn't give you very good harmonic motion. So it's a kind of a be careful. But, it sounded pretty good going like that to a major 7th chord. Okay, it's because of that tritone there. You know, that tritone goes with an F7th chord, and C goes to F a lot, so that's why it's a be careful. Okay, let's look at some more stuff here. So here's our basic chord again. Let's try the flat 9 down here. Okay, that's pretty good. I like it. And then like that, maybe that moves up to there, you see. So I think that sounds pretty nice. And then that might open the possibilities for a few other things. Let's put the flat 13 in instead. One other little rule we're going to observe is we're not going to exceed a sixth, a major sixth for any interval. So if I went like this and played that for a chord, this is a little bit too big, so I need to fill it in, and I'm lacking a third, so let me put the third in. So yeah, that's a pretty rich voicing there. Let's see what else we can do. Suppose I move my third down here as well, and now if you have a flat 9 or a sharp 9, you can have both of those together, but you can't have a regular 9 mixed in with either one of those. You know, you can't have a 9 and a flat 9. You can't have a 9 and a sharp 9. I mean, you kind of can, but it's gonna hurt. So let's use both the flat 9 and the sharp 9. And we're going to avoid that 13 because of that interval again. We're going to do the flat 13. And see, that's a very rich altered chord, because I call it altered because the 9s are both altered and the 13 is altered. In other words, it's not a regular 13, it's a flat 13. And these are altered too. Okay, let's try it out in a 2-5-1. Very nice. Okay. Okay, this is legal, I think. Sure it is. All right. So anyway, you know, every one of these chords had the C on the top here. And of course now, you know, once you get into maybe a 9th on top, you have a whole nother set of chords you could try. And let me just show you. The Berklee College of Music formula for this would be 1, 7. This comes from the tension formulas, and there's a link down in the description. All right, so 1, 7, 3, 7, 9. What could we do? We got 2 7s. Why don't we change 1 to a 13? That sounds better. We could add the sharp 11. All right, you can't have a sharp 11 and an 11 in the same chord, and you can't really have a third and a sharp and a third and a regular 11 either, though you can really. It just gives you a kind of a clash, kind of a washy sound. You know, you could do it, but it's not advised. All right. So yeah, we could add that. We could put a 9 in, but now we don't have a third. You know, if the chord still sounds dominant, you can get away with leaving out a third or a 7th sometimes. But let's put the third in down here. Yeah, pretty nice. Easy to remember too. Got a D major triad up here. And your kind of basic structure down here. Okay, let's take a look at There Is No Greater Love. And let me just say too that what you really need to know is what tensions, and I'm talking about 9s, 11s, and 13s, are allowable on each kind of chord. Now, in this song, There Is No Greater Love, we've got major 7th chord. It's a B flat major 7th. Now, you can't add a flat 9 to this chord. You can to a dominant chord, but the major 7th chord only takes 3 tensions. The 9, the sharp 11, and the 13, and you can add them all or any combination. So we have those notes to pick from when we get to that chord. Dominant 7th is the one where you can use the most tensions. You can use the flat 9, the regular 9, but not at the same time. The sharp 9, that's the 3rd. You can use the 11th if you want to kind of suspend the chord. The 11th, like that. In fact, you could put a flat 9 in with that 11th, and it doesn't even need to resolve. And what else can you put in? You can put a sharp 11, that's the 5, a flat 13, especially with another altered interval will sound good. See? Or a regular 13. And once again, That's the be careful. So put a third in. How about a ninth? Yeah. And let's see, what else do we have? Do we have any minor seventh chords in here? Yes, we do. C minor seventh. So again, this one only takes three, well, not again, but like the major seventh chord, this one only takes three kinds of tensions. A 9, can't be a sharp 9 because in this chord that is the third, it's the minor third, so it doesn't really exist. The flat 9, no. So you could get the 9, the 11, and the 13. Okay, major seventh, 9, sharp 11 and 13. Minor, 9, 11, and 13. And we'll look for ways to add those to our chords. And we got one other chord in here. It's a minor 7, flat 5, and I've told this story before. Berklee College of Music right here in measure 19 here is A flat minor 7, flat 5 with a 13 on top. Okay. Now a lot of books and stuff don't even include this chord. They think this chord doesn't work really, but it does. And when you practice it around the cycle, I've told this story before. My wife came into the room. This is my first wife, not my present wife. Came into the room and announced she was going to divorce me. So don't practice this one at home, especially if you do it wrong like that. All right, but it actually happens in this song when it gets to right here. And you know, that's such a rich chord. And then I played like a super simple D7, and it didn't sound very good. You know, another thing to consider is what chord are you coming from and what chord are you going to, determining how rich you want your chord to be. If you went from like a really rich chord like this and you went to D major, it just it doesn't sound right. But if I went to, you know, a big altered chord there, it's going to sound pretty good. That's probably what I'm going to do. All right, so let's take a look at this song. We got right away. Now here's Berklee College of Music chord formula: 1, 7, 3, 5, 1. It's the same for any kind of chord too. It's a dominant seventh or a sixth chord, you know, or a minor sixth chord. It's 1. Well, if it can be the seventh or the sixth. That's kind of interchangeable. But all right. So this chord has a lot of tension anyway because of that, and a lot of people would play a sixth there, especially a piano player. Play it like that. But you know, if you're comping and the whole melody, you know, works well over a major seventh chord, so I think that's why they put that major seventh up there. Well, let's look for a way we can make that major seventh better. So, you know, I took my fifth and moved it up to the 13. You could think of it as a 6. There's nothing wrong with thinking of it that way. Yeah, I could add a 9 to it. I could move the third, that's the third, down an octave and do that. I could make the 6th here and the 7th there. That kind of, you know, hurts the melody to have that note so close to it. So coming up with all kinds of chords here. If I wanted to do just a 6 chord, I could add a 9, put the 5 in, like that. Now, could I just leave that out and do this chord? No, because too big of an interval here. See, needs to be a 6th or less. The exception to that rule is from between the bass and whatever note you're playing up there, you know, can be a 10th, whatever you want. But after that, you know, you don't want to spread them out too far. So a chord voicing like this, for instance, for C dominant, though it doesn't really sound bad, you know, it needs something in here. So if you can't reach it, you know, you just, you know, and hey, you can break the rules once in a while, you know, but you wouldn't want to, you know, play all your voicings like spread out like this. You know, you want to keep them, you know, following my rules. Got the rules? Okay. Want to break the rules? Yes, we are. Okay, let's take the song. Let's make it a 6 chord. This is such a great voicing. my teacher, had me keep notebooks, and for every type of chord with any type of melody note, we had to come up with a bunch of different chords and write them down, and where we got them or how we came up with them. So that's a great 6-9 chord there, or a major seventh. We could do it like that. Okay, here's a dominant chord. Let's start with the formula: 1 7 3 7 9. Okay, well, right away we could add a 13 to it. Can't add, it's got a 9, so that rules out the flat 9 and the sharp 9. So we can add the 13. Could we add a flat 13 instead? You can, but it changes the quality of the chord so much. It's more like an augmented seventh, right? Because it's got an augmented chord there, which is kind of a different chord type, actually. So I'm going to avoid that one and go back to the 13. I've got a 9 already. The only other thing I could really put in would be a sharp 11, which is here. So, yeah, well, that's pretty nice. I got 2 sevenths, so I could get rid of one of them. Yeah, not much difference in sound, but it sounds pretty good. Let's try it out. No. Leave the 7th out. All right, I got a good one for this. Oh, you're going to hate it. All right. Now, yeah. It doesn't sound good. It could sound good, if you have a really kind of dissonant sounding, chord structure. You use this, and you use a whole bunch of stuff here. Maybe you double the 13 like that, so you got this, and then you played that one. Okay, first of all, you have to decide, is the chord legal? We got A flat 7th, got a flat 9, a sharp 9, and the sharp 11. So yes, it is legal. It's an altered chord. It's pretty low. It's very dissonant. And especially if you're just going to G7 next, unless you maybe change that or something. All right, okay. If it's too dissonant, let's use a Berklee College of Music formula, which is 1 5 7 9 sharp 11. This note is the sharp 11 there. So you could do that. You could also use it the 3rd that way. One of these they call it the flat 5, and one they call it the sharp 11, but I've never been able to keep that straight. This is a nice voicing here. What else could you add? Maybe an F, because that's the 13. Right. That's a pretty nice voicing there. I don't think it would offend anyone. There's our G7. Now, there's no official melody note here because it's tied, so we're not playing the D again. So, we can do anything we want, and I'm just going to keep it simple. Okay, C7th, Berklee College formula, 1 5 7 3 5. We sure don't need 2 5s, so let's move make it a 13 there. And let's add a 9 right there. We could do a flat 9. Yeah, we could do that. And then we could do the exact same chord here because, once again, we've got the 5th on top. So, a typical voicing. Here's College of Music right there. That's the one. Just add a 9. And add a 9 to that one, too. Okay? To make it richer, add the 13 here, see? And then do the same thing there. Yeah, that's a good chord right there. All right, here's what I got, a C minor here. So, do you remember what you can add to this chord? 3 things, a 9, 11, 13. Now the 13, starts to make it sound like F7, which is the chord we're going to. So we'll probably avoid 13s for the most part. So really, think about 9s and 11s first. So let's put the 9 in, let's put the 11 in. Let's move the 11 down an octave, so take this one out, move it down there. That's nice. I like that. Anything else we can move around? Can we get rid of this one? It's doubled, Yeah, Yeah. Is that too big of a space there? No, it's a major 6, so you can do it. All right, let me just play this song with as many of these voicings as I can, and then we'll get to the B section, which has got my minor 7 flat 5 thingy in there. So here we go. Bridge. All right, so just using the basic formula here, which is, so you've got this, you add the melody note, and you have a pretty rich chord already. Now 5 different tensions will work on the minor 7 flat 5, a flat 9, yeah, or the 9. That one sounds better, and the regular 9 is a very common addition to this chord. Another one that works is the 13. Of course, we're going to that note anyway, so I probably wouldn't do that. Or the flat 13. All right, these are all legal, but none of them sound good, so. All right, here we got D, and I'll put the 3rd down here, and a flat 9 and a sharp 9 here. And here, small version of the College of Music chord there, but we'll add a 9. Or we could change the 5 to a 4, which is really an 11. We've got a little voicing like that. And then here's my voicing here. All right, we have D7 with a 7 on top, and College of Music's going to say 1 5 3 7 3 7 3 7, but I don't like the 5, so let's put a 3rd there instead. Then we can get rid of that 3rd. Put a sharp 9 instead. We switch to this. Put a sharp 11 in. Put a flat 13 in. All those chords sound good. What was that? Flat 9, sharp 11. All right. That's good. Little drop 2 there. Or what do they call this? Not locked hands, but block chords. See? G minor, diminished chord, G minor, diminished chord, G minor, diminished chord, G minor. You know, it works like that. But that's not what we're talking about in this video. So I'll just play a nice G minor chord. All right, use a formula. Could maybe put 11 in if you can reach it. And I like C sus here. Then resolve it. All right, so you're getting the idea. You know, you can come up with so many great chord voicings just by, you know, searching them out on the piano. And, you know, the best way is to try them out either in the song where you're, you know, trying to find a good chord voicing, or in a 2-5-1. Also, you know, a lot of these rootless voicings like this work well as the top half of the chord. So like a C 13 chord could be like that, or it could be like this, another rootless voicing. It's not rootless when you play the left hand, but this part of it is. These open voicings all have the root on the bottom. Now, once you get rid of the root down there, you can play, you know, these rootless voicings here and stick triads up above them, like that. But that's for another video. I do want to thank all my recent Patreon subscribers. I put up the only album I ever actually really did, my own, back in about 20 years ago. I'm putting that up today for my Patreon subscribers. Got a 6-piece horn section on about the first half of it. I wrote all the arrangements myself. I'm somewhat proud of the album. I recorded almost all the vocals one night after I had played down at Ray's on the River, and my voice was feeling good. It was warmed up, so I came home about 2 o'clock in the morning and just recorded the whole album, basically. That's it. I'm going to do one other video kind of like this on Stella by Starlight, so stay tuned for that. Okay, here I am, Stella by Starlight, as promised, and what we're looking for is cool chord voicings. Okay, so one thing you have to know is what tensions, and I'm talking about 9s, 11s, and 13s, can be added to a particular type of chord. Like a minor 7 flat 5, you can add an 11, which is the melody note. You can add a 9, and that makes a pretty nice sounding chord. Maybe I'll put the G down here. And can't really call that an open voicing. Root, 3rd, 5th, 7, 9, 11, but it still sounds good. And what else could you add to it? You can add a flat 9. You know, it doesn't usually sound that good, a flat 9 in this chord, but it sounds okay here. You can add also a 13 and a flat 13. Yeah, that's kind of a cool sound right there. Not a open voicing at all, because, you know, you've just filled up everything. Yeah, very rich. I wouldn't use it for the first chord of a song, but you know, in the right spot, it could be nice. Let's just stick with this. All right, now we have A7 flat 9 with no melody note. So a cool thing to do is to play an A7 chord and put a nice tension on top. Let's put either the flat 9, the sharp 9, or a 9, or the sharp 11. I'm going to put the sharp 11 on it. I don't know why, because it sounds like shit. I'll put a flat 13 on it. Yeah. That sounded better. All right, and you know, a Berklee College of Music chord formula for this would be root, 5, 7, 3, and the 11. It says C minor 7th, but it is a C minor 11th chord. Because of the melody note. So what can you add to a minor 7th chord? Only 2 things really, a 9th and an 11th. So we already got the 11th, let's put the 9 in. And you can add a 13, but it's gonna, you know, you've got that in there and you're going to F7, so you lose your harmonic motion if you put that in there. But it actually kind of works in this spot. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's got an ethereal type of quality to it. You might not want that right away. And then we go to F7. Once again, there's a tied melody note, so I'll play it. All right, now the dominant chord is the one you can put the most stuff in. All right, so I put in a flat 9, there's my 3rd. I have a sharp 11 there. All right, I could put a 13 in too. I could maybe put a flat 13. And you have to be careful about how you mix them. You know, you can't put a 9 and a sharp 9 in the same chord, or a 9 and a flat 9, for kind of obvious reasons. Yeah. All right. Okay, here's the F minor, but the melody note is the 9, so we already have that. All we can add is the 11. And where's my minor 3? We'll put it in with my thumb like that. Yes, okay. All right. Also, you want to think, when you're doing these really rich chords, where are you coming from and where are you going? So you don't want to go to something real simple on the next chord, like you know, like that, without any tension, without hardly any tension to it. So from here, all right. Now, got the 5th in here. It gives it some dissonance. All right, now this sharp 11 is too close to the melody note there. If you're real careful, put it in lightly, you could do it. Here's A flat dominant. All right. These really low chords, you know, you have much less to pick from. You know, if your melody note's here, you can't play anything above it. I mean, you can, but, you know, it's not going to sound like a melody note unless you play the top stuff really softly. So if you have A flat 7, that's the 9. What can you add? You could add a 13. And that's pretty nice. I like that. You could add a sharp 11, but it's going to be too low. Yeah, it could work. Probably not. All right, B flat major 7th. All right, and the melody note is a note that's not allowed. So a lot of people will do stuff like they'll suspend it like that, or make it like a minor. You know, actually change the chord to make it work. Or you could just play B flat major 7th and just resolve it quickly like that, like the melody does, and then you're fine. All right, another really low chord here. We've got E flat minor 7 flat 5. So here's the formula. But it's just too muddy sounding, so let's bring that up there. We could add the 9 to it. No, that's the 11. And then, now here, you know, you've got A7, flat 9, but where do you play it? Do you play it on the 4th beat there with the note, or do you play it on the 3rd beat? You probably should play it on the 3rd beat. And then you just play anything. All right, so I played an A7 with a flat 9. Could have maybe done a sharp 9. Could have done them both. And here we have a D minor 11. That's the Berklee College of Music chord formula for it. What else could we add to it? A 9. And could we do anything else with that? We'll put the 3rd down there. Then it's not an open voicing anymore. Or you can make it bigger, you know. But, you know, if you were coming, if you're coming from here, that's okay. All right. B flat minor, started with a formula, added the 9. Could add 11 maybe. And then we've got E flat dominant, and it's on beat 3, so let me play a 9 chord with a 13. Here's a formula chord, and just added the 13. Maybe could add the sharp 11 there too. And same thing again, a major 7 with a what they call the avoid note. So we could change it to B flat minor and do that, or just deal with it. Maybe change from major 7th to a 6th chord like that. If you wanted to do something like that, I don't know. All right, D7. We want to alter this thing as much as we can. Let's see how we're going to do this. All right. Where did this chord come from? Okay. Well, we could start with the formula, but it's a long way to get to this chord, so let's just see what it is. This is typical, you know. If you just have the root, the 3rd, and the 7, then you can play practically any note up here, and it'll be some kind of a tension. You can't play a major 7th. You can't play, there's something else you can't play too. You can't play the 11th really, because you got a 3rd in there. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just the major 7th. So, you know, I'm going to avoid this note, and I'm going to avoid this note. Any other note should work, though you can't mix things like the regular 9 and the flat 9 together. So, there's my melody note. I've already doubled something. I'm going to put in the flat 9. And I'm going to put in a sharp 11. Yeah, that's the 11. Here's the sharp 11. And what did I have? I had a flat 9 there too, maybe, didn't I? Is that what I had? No, I can't remember what chord I had there. I think it was that. Okay, that's a flat 13. You know, they have it as a augmented chord. Most of the time now, an augmented chord, you know, you usually just put in, I mean, there's a lot of tensions that go with this, but it kind of blurs the line between, is it an augmented chord or is it really just a 7th chord with a flat 13 like that? Even that, you can call it a flat 13 because you have a 7 already. But it can also be called an augmented. And I think both, basically the same tensions basically are going to work. So I could put a flat 9 in, put a sharp 9 as well. Already got the 3rd down here, so that would work. Even this note will fit in there because it's a sharp 11. That's nice. Let me run into that. Of course, I've forgotten it. Yeah. It's a classic chord. We got every altered tension. G7, flat 9, sharp 11, flat 13. Leave one of them out. Let's leave this one out because it's too close to the melody, so end up with just that. Or you can double it or put it down here. Maybe that's what I had before. Is that what it was? That's a nice. I need to put that one in my notebook. Of course, you can always get voicings from the masters. This is Kenny, what's his name there? Kenny, I never remember that guy. Kenny Kirkland? I don't know. Somebody made this chord famous. Fifths, C minor 11th. A flat 7, 13, 9, sharp 11. And I haven't really talked about this much today, but on dominant chords especially, but other chords too, if you think about these triads, like that's a B flat triad, all right? And it's a step above A flat. So, you know, you could just think that way. Play a C and play a D. Right? You get that same kind of chord. Now, for those of you who are trying to learn how to improvise, knowing all these chords is really a good way to go because you can just think about these chords, you know. There's E, right, just playing part of the chord there, and then I've got this, you know, I've got a B flat minor triad here, so, you know, I can put that into my improvisation. And then we're going to C minor, you know, I know like a B flat triad works, like that. And then F7th, you know, I could play a B triad, gives me a lot of good tensions. F minor, I could think of like a G minor or something, or maybe an E flat. And B flat here, I could think about anything I want. Chords, yes. Chords is where it's at. Some really rich voicings can be found with Oscar Peterson, Art Tatum. Peter Martin does some pretty amazing chords. Y'all tuning into those Friday night Peter Martin things? Oh man, those are so good. If you'd like to support the channel, of course, Head on over to my Patreon page. It's down there in the description, or make a one-time contribution if you like, or just subscribe and leave me a nice comment, and that's what keeps me going. So thanks a lot, y'all, and I'll see you again soon.